My husband Liam Pei was heading to the capital for his new post, but the carriage could only seat 5. Our 4-year-old son counted on his fingers. Father said, Grandma, father, younger sister, Auntie Nian, and me, exactly 5. Our daughter timidly asked, but what about mother? Liam Pei frowned upon hearing this. Mother-in-law is old and can't bear the dampness here. Both children are at the age to start school. As for Nina Shun, she is the sister of his former fiancé. Her entire family was executed because of him. He owes her. Only I, his wife, am dispensable. Willow, the newly planted peonies should bloom next year. Wait here at home for now. When the flowers bloom along the path, I will come for you. The exact same words as in my past life. This time, I didn't make a fuss, only nodded gently. After all, I no longer want any of you as family. You head north. I'll go south. From now on, our paths diverge silently, like spring mountains veiled in mist and grass shrouded in haze. It wasn't until the rented carriage arrived at our home that I learned my husband would depart for the capital in 3 days. The carriage was exceptionally luxurious. 2 majestic, high-headed horses pulled it with imposing grandeur. Next door, Granny Liz leaned on her cane, craning her neck to peer from the doorway. She couldn't stop praising. Willow, sure, just as your mother-in-law said, your husband comes from extraordinary origins. You're off to live the good life in the capital now. I closed my eyes and said nothing. The Pei family was a renowned noble clan. The old master of the main branch was the illustrious Marquis of Serenity, a legendary war god. Had the Marquis of Serenity not been framed by treacherous schemers, Liam Pei, from a collateral branch of the Pei family, would never have come to our remote Apricot Creek, nor would he have married me out of gratitude for saving his life. This was something my mother-in-law had whispered in my ear no less than 1,000 times. Now that the Marquis of Serenity's name had been cleared, the Pei family members were pardoned and reinstated to their official posts. Liam Pei, once an imperial scholar, would naturally return to the capital to serve as an official. Yet, though he had known this news half a month ago, I only learned of it today, when I returned home from gathering herbs. My 4-year-old twins were arguing. My daughter Alara Pei puffed out her round, bun-like cheeks. Older brother, how could you leave mother out? Who will wash our clothes and cook for us in the capital? Everyone will say we're motherless children. My son Leo Pei scrunched up his delicate little face, so much like Liam Pei's. But that's what father said. The carriage is only big enough for the 5 of us. My mother-in-law caught sight of me. She hastily spat and scolded. You foolish boy, how dare you talk nonsense? Wasn't it you who said you didn't want your mother to come to the capital? Leo's lips trembled. Auntie Nian said that children in the capital judge others by their mother's background. Mother is from the village. If she comes, we'll be laughed at. His eyes filled with hope as he glanced toward Nina Shun, who was embroidering nearby. Why doesn't Auntie Nian come to the capital with us and pretend to be our mother? Auntie Nian is a noble lady, skilled in music, chess, calligraphy, and painting. If you were our mother, no one would ever mock us. Nina Shun smiled playfully. Our Leo has truly changed after studying for a while. He even knows the term noble lady now. Her words were directed at Leo Pei, yet her gaze unconsciously drifted sideways. A faint smile appeared on Liam Pei's typically impassive face. It's still your teaching that's effective. Only you can discipline his temperament enough to make him study and recognize characters. Only then did I realize that Liam Pei's smile was actually so captivating, gentle like the spring breeze of March. Yet he rarely smiled at me. In my memory, his jade-carved face seemed frozen like the perpetual snow atop the Kunlun Mountains. Getting closer, one could feel an invasive chill. Even moonlight shining on his collar appeared to frost over. But that was only toward me. Toward others, even this iceberg could melt. Nina Shun's lips curved slightly upward. She shyly met Liam's gaze. Brother Liam, you flatter me too much. Our Leo is such a good boy, praised. Leo Pei fluttered like a fledgling bird into Nina Shun's embrace. Auntie Nian, then be my mother. I'll always be obedient. Nina Shun held him. laughing so hard her whole body shook with mirth. Yet Liam Pei's expression turned stern, his voice crisp and clear. "Leo, don't speak nonsense." After saying this, he noticed me at the courtyard gate. He walked slowly toward me, the sweep of his robe exuding an untouchable, icy nobility. I couldn't help but recall my mother-in-law's usual remarks. If our Liam hadn't been dragged down by the Pei family, he could have even married a princess. How could it ever be your turn? He and I were never from the same world. A cool voice pulled me from my reverie. "Willow, you're back." He reached out to take the basket of herbs from my back. I turned away, avoiding his touch. His outstretched hand paused, then slowly withdrew. "I know you hold resentment in your heart, but Nina lost her family because of our Pei family. I owe her a debt of guilt. Now that the opportunity has come, I must take her back to the capital and help her reestablish her household." I heard these very words many times in my past life. Back then, I sorrowfully wondered why he chose Nina Shin over me. But now I understand. This has nothing to do with Nina. There are plenty of carriages that can accommodate one more person, yet he specifically rented this 5-seater. In truth, he simply didn't want me to go to the capital with them. Thinking of this, I nodded. "Liam Pei, I understand. The 5 of you should go to the capital. I'll stay behind." Liam Pei must have prepared his arguments, intending to persuade me further, but he didn't expect me to respond like this. He paused slightly, frowning. "Willow, are you truly not angry?" I'm not angry. A husband taking his entire family to his new post, yet leaving his wife behind. Anyone in my place would take issue with it. In my previous life, that's exactly how I felt. I was utterly humiliated and single-mindedly insisted on following them to the capital. I made a scene 2 or 3 times, but Liam Pei never relented. On the day before departure, I slipped on scattered soybeans in the kitchen and injured my leg. I couldn't go to the capital anymore. The pain was excruciating. I didn't even notice Liam Pei secretly breathing a sigh of relief. My mother-in-law grumbled and cursed. In the end, she offered to stay behind to take care of me. Liam Pei was deeply moved. Mother usually dislikes Willow, sure, yet she was willing to stay and care for her. "Once I'm settled, I'll come fetch you both as soon as possible." My mother-in-law vowed earnestly that she would take good care of me, but as soon as the 4 of them left, she seized the chance to lock me in the room, starving me for 3 days. Only then did I realize it was all part of her scheme. The soybeans that made me slip had been soaked in oil by her. She deliberately scattered them where I brewed medicine every night. She gloated triumphantly. "I just won't let you go to the capital. You, a country bumpkin, have disgraced my son. Once you're gone, he and Nina can be together without a hitch." I was so hungry, I felt dizzy and lightheaded. On the 4th day, she brought me a bowl of watery vegetable soup. I didn't have time to look closely and gulped it down. Little did I know, the soup had been drugged. When I woke again, I was in an unfamiliar room. Red candles blazed brightly, and the character for double happiness was pasted on the walls. A bearded man with a scarred face was drooling as he tore at my clothes. I recognized him, Scarface Lee, the local ruffian from the neighboring village. He was notorious far and wide for his wickedness. He spent his days on shady deeds, stealing, bullying, and preying on the weak. His previous wife had been beaten to death by him. Her family only had 2 frail elders and a young daughter. Threatened by Scarface Lee, they didn't dare report it to the authorities. They accepted a dozen or so taels in compensation and hastily moved away with their daughter. But his evil reputation spread throughout the nearby villages. No family was willing to marry their daughter to him after that. His foul, smelling mouth pressed against my neck. The stench nearly made me vomit. I mustered all my strength. Struggling frantically, Scarface Lee casually picked up 2 papers. His voice muffled and gruff. "See clearly, this is your letter of divorce. And this is our marriage contract. Your mother has already promised you to me and accepted my 10-tael betrothal gift." My eyes nearly burst with rage. I couldn't believe Mother Pei could be so vicious. Scarface Lee stared at me, desire gradually clouding his eyes. He even whispered sweet nothings. "Though you've been married before, You're still quite appetizing. Bear me 2 or 3 children tomorrow, and I'll treat you well, I promise." I felt nothing but burning fury. Rage surged through me, lending me sudden strength as I reached for the wooden hairpin on my head. It was left to me by my foster father. Inside the wooden casing lay a sharp, poison needle. One prick, and death would follow. That was the first time I killed someone. Scarface Lee's wide, unblinking eyes stared straight at me. I felt as if the moonlight flooding the ground had turned into a pool of blood, drowning me within it. I lay on the ground for a long time, until the sky gradually brightened. My heart swelled with longing for my son and daughter, giving me the strength to go on living. I buried Scarface Lee's body beneath the pear blossom tree in the courtyard. Bracing against fear and revulsion, I rummaged through his house for all the edible provisions I could find, packed them up, and left. I was headed for the capital. By sheer luck, after walking through just a few villages, I encountered a merchant caravan bound for the capital that was hiring a cook. On the day of the Lantern Festival, I arrived, travel, worn and weary, at the capital my mother-in-law had spoken of as unattainably grand, bustling with joy and dazzling wealth. After asking many people, I finally found the Pei family and waited by their gate. Leo Pei returned from his studies. The moment he saw me, all color drained from his face. His eyes were filled with utter disgust, but I didn't notice it at the time. My heart was filled only with the bitterness of a long, arduous journey and the joy of seeing my son again. "Leo," before I could speak, he called the servants. "Quick, drive this madwoman away." Father said not to let her cause trouble in the mansion. I was shoved by burly servants. Thick wooden sticks rained down on me like hailstones. My newly healed leg buckled once more. I lay sprawled on the ground in utter disgrace. Leo Pei didn't even glance my way as he walked off. As cold snowflakes drifted down, I lost consciousness in the narrow alley. When I opened my eyes again, I had been reborn on the day Liam Pei announced his return to the capital. Just like in my past life, they shut me out once more, but my heart had grown cold and hard. This time, I won't try to fit in anymore. I don't want this family either. Granny Liz tremblingly brought over some dried rations. "Willow, my dear, now you'll go to the capital to enjoy a life of fortune. The capital must be so prosperous and bustling." I pushed the dry rations she'd saved from her own meals back to her. "Grandma, I won't go. Keep these rations for yourself." Her clouded eyes wavered. "Why?" Before I could answer, she answered herself. "Is it because your mother-in-law looks down on you and won't let you go to the capital? I'll find the village chief to settle this." I shook my head. "There's no need. I don't want to go to the capital either." She paused, her face full of pity. "If you don't want to go, then don't. We don't need that capital anyway. It's better not to live with your mother-in-law, so she can't keep tormenting you." "No, she can't go either. She does want to return to the capital, but I won't let her have her way." The words lingered on the tip of my tongue, but in the end, I didn't say them. In my past life, Liam Pei's mother sold me to a scoundrel. This time, let her taste that bitterness herself. That night, Mother Pei slipped and fell while cooking bird's nest soup in the kitchen. Her leg bone was dislocated. She would need at least 3 months to recover. She sobbed between spoonfuls of bird's nest. Whoever scattered soybeans in the kitchen has no conscience. Liam Pei picked up a few shriveled soybeans with his slender fingers. Then he glanced at the bird's nest in her bowl. His expression turned puzzled. "Mother, why are you cooking bird's nest in the middle of the night?" The mother-in-law froze. She guiltily averted her eyes. "It's because your wife's cooking was simply inedible tonight. I couldn't eat much and got hungry at midnight." It was merely that after so long in the countryside, she feared her aging appearance would pale next to the noble women of the capital. Hence she sought to nourish herself with bird's nest soup. Unwilling to share with Nina Shun, she secretly cooked it alone at night. That bird's nest was part of the dowry my foster father left me. After the wedding, she had quietly put them away, hiding them all in her own room. But I had no intention of exposing her. She had no fortune to enjoy the bird's nest, and the person must stay too. Liam Pei choked up and softly explained. "Tonight's meal was made by Nina." Nina Shun happened to come in just then, blushing at his words. Her mind worked quickly. She immediately changed the subject. These soybeans were picked by Mother during the day. Leo wanted soy milk, so Mother specially sifted the plumpest beans to make it tomorrow. She arrived late and didn't hear her mother's earlier complaints. Unintentionally, she let the truth slip out. Liam Pei set down the soybeans and said gravely, "Since Mother dropped the beans herself, blaming others is pointless." He frowned. "We should focus on how to handle this leg injury." Finally, the words I'd been waiting to hear. I stepped forward. "Since Mother-in-law isn't fit to travel, she should stay home. With me here to care for her, you can rest assured." Liam Pei's aloof expression softened slightly, a glimmer of amusement spilling into his eyes. "Very well, Willow, sure. You always handle matters with such thoughtfulness. I shall ensure your mother is married off with the utmost care." On the day Liam Pei departed, the sky was a clear, wash blue. I stood to the side, watching Leo Pei and Alara Pei carry their own luggage out. They were at that adorable age, hugging cloth bundles. Their straining arms resembled tender lotus roots, two delicate little faces, bearing a striking resemblance to Liam Pei, making it difficult to dislike them. In the past, I would have long since taken the luggage from their hands with a heart full of pity, tidying everything for them. But now I merely watched from afar, unmoved. These children I once held so dear to my heart. After being reborn, I suddenly found all affection gone, even though they were about to journey far away. For the rest of our lives, we would be worlds apart. But unlike my past life, I didn't cry with reluctance, nor did my heart stir with any emotion. "Mother," my sleeve was tugged gently. I looked down to see Alara Pei gazing up at me with her fair, delicate face. "Mother, I'll miss you when we're in the capital." She earnestly handed me a wooden comb. It was a birthday gift Liam Pei had made for her when she turned 3. "When you comb your hair with this, Mother, it'll be like having Alara by your side." Her brother, Leo Pei, also gathered close, holding a small wooden horse in his hands, his most treasured toy. "Mother, my little horse will keep you company too." I was taken aback. Reaching out, I accepted them. Ever since Nina Shun came into our home, they had gradually grown distant from me. They seldom showed me warmth or kindness. It was always me coaxing them to exchange a few words with me. Now, after just 2 days of my coldness toward them, they were eagerly seeking my affection. But alas, it was far too late. Liam Pei looked at the pair of little ones and chuckled softly. "Willow, the children are very reluctant to let you go." But what surfaced in my mind was Leo Pei's cold expression behind those servants, and the glimpse I caught of Alara Pei before losing consciousness. She stood at the alley's entrance without uttering a word, watching silently as I was buried by the wind and snow. Our bond as mother and child had long been severed. It's hard for a mother to hate her own children, but she can choose not to love. In this life, I shall grant their wish. For the rest of my days, I will never see them again. Liam Pei patted the 2 children's heads, his entire demeanor gentle as winter's first thaw. He stepped around the children and walked toward me, extending his arms. He made a rare gesture to embrace me. The jade belt at his waist gleamed coldly, his cedar scent reaching my nostrils first. I instinctively took half a step back, silently refusing him. Liam Pei's hand froze mid-air, disbelief flashing in his eyes. After a long pause, he sighed softly. "Willow, if only you could show me a little more understanding." My heart was tossed by turbulent waves. A sour bitterness welled up inside. In all of Apricot Creek, I was absolutely the wife who understood her husband best. 2 years ago, Nina Shun arrived here. Her elder sister Sylvia Shun was Liam Pei's fiancée. The Shun family had been framed by political enemies due to their ties with the Pei family, resulting in their entire clan being executed. Only the second young miss, Nina Shun, who was at her maternal grandparents' home, escaped the tragedy. After many hardships and wanderings, it took her 2 years to finally find Liam Pei. At that time, she threw herself into Liam Pei's arms, her face radiant with joy. But her eyes caught sight of Alara Pei in my arms, and Leo Pei riding his wooden horse in the courtyard. She was stunned. "Brother, "In-law, you're married?" After Liam Pei nodded, her eyes instantly reddened. But even so, she stayed. "Liam Pei told me that the Shun family suffer misfortune because of our Pei family, and that I owed her this. He wanted to do his utmost to protect Nina Shun until she married. I considered how she, like my former self, was all alone in the world, so I gladly agreed. But after Nina stayed, as she grew older, she showed little interest in marriage. Instead, the way she looked at Liam Pei was quite unusual. Secretly, she gazed at him with tender affection. I felt uneasy, but Liam Pei said, I watched Nina grow up. To me, she is just a younger sister. I would never have any improper thoughts about her. So I set my heart at ease again. But Nina began to harbor other intentions, comparing herself to me in every way. I wrote prescriptions. She laughed at my ugly handwriting and proudly showed off her elegant orchid script. There were many people in the household. I relied entirely on selling medicinal herbs and treating patients to earn a living. She desperately embroidered handkerchiefs to sell for money, determined to compete with me and prove herself superior. With Liam Pei's promise, I paid it no mind. She had no family left in this world. The only one she cared about, Liam Pei, now had a wife and children. One must have something to hold on to keep living. But gradually, everything changed. I had no idea that my mother-in-law, who always thought I married above my station, was already plotting to have her son divorce me and remarry. When I wasn't home, they would tell the children stories of the wealth and luxury in the capital. The two young children gradually developed a longing for the capital. There, people wore fine silks and ate exquisite food. They were well educated and carried themselves with grace, completely different from our rural life. Children there also cared about one's background. Someone like me, born in the countryside, would be looked down upon. They went from clinging to me to looking down on me. By the time I realized the two children's temperaments had changed, it was already too late. I had considered marrying Nina Shun off as soon as possible to bring peace back to this household. Liam Pei was hesitant. Apricot Creek doesn't have many suitable men, and I didn't want to disgrace Nina. She's just having a hard time in the countryside and misses her days in the capital. Please try to understand. As he spoke, emotions surged in his eyes, clearly filled with nostalgia for the capital. My heart sank. After all, these people are from the capital. It's only natural they miss their hometown. Forget it. I didn't bring it up again, but I never expected that my repeated understanding would still fall short in Liam Pei's heart. And now, he wants me to be even more understanding. Even after living a second life, my heart still feels as if pierced by a knife. I couldn't help but harden my expression and take a deep breath. I'm a narrow-minded person. I can't offer any more understanding. Besides, in the days to come, there will be no need for my consideration. Liam Pei's expression instantly froze. He opened his mouth, wanting to say something more. Nina Shun drew closer. She stood beside Liam Pei, who wore a plain blue robe, dressed in a moon-white gown. They looked like a perfect pair. With a cheerful smile, she smoothed non-existent wrinkles from Liam Pei's cuffs. But her words were meant for me. I've prepared the dry rations for the journey, along with extra winter clothes and medicinal herbs. Brother-in-law, I've also packed your writing brushes, ink, paper, and inkstone. She acted as if she were the lady of the house, meticulously organizing every detail for the long journey. In the past, this scene would have stung me, and I would have fought to take charge of it all. But now, I no longer care. Nina Shun was never my so-called rival. I even feel grateful to her. Through her, I saw clearly that Liam Pei holds no place for me in his heart. The Pei family never truly treated me as one of their own. The only thing that truly pained me was the pair of children I had risked my life to bring into this world, who, under constant influence, had ended up standing against me. Their birth mother, Liam Pei, instinctively took a step back, avoiding Nina Shun's outstretched hand. His dark, intense gaze fixed on me, as if surprised by my indifference to the scene. I averted my eyes from his, taking one last, deep look at the young pair laughing and playing in the carriage. From this day forward, our paths would diverge, never to cross again. Mother Pei, with her broken leg, couldn't come out to bid her son a final farewell. Frustration simmered within her. Once the house was empty save for the two of us, she dropped all pretense, lying arrogantly on her bed as she ordered me, "Willow, it's already noon. Go make me some chicken soup. Add some of that caterpillar fungus you dug up last time. I need to rebuild my strength. And fry up a few of those eggs Granny Liz gave you, too." She rambled on for a while, before finally noticing I hadn't responded. I watched her calmly, unmoving for a long time, watched her expression shift gradually from arrogance to panic. "Willow, sure. What are you going to do?" "Very well." Her perception of danger was sharp. I leaned close to her, my voice low and hoarse. "Where is the letter of divorce Liam Pei left?" Mother Pei trembled all over, surprise flashing in her eyes. "The letter of divorce? How do you know?" "Never you mind. Give me the letter of divorce, and I'll spare your life." I drew a short blade from my sleeve. It was something I carried for protection when gathering herbs in the mountains. It could slice through iron like mud, incredibly sharp. Mother Pei recognized it too. The color drained from her face, her face deathly pale. She tremblingly pulled out a piece of paper from inside the bed. "Willow, sure. Liam Pei didn't necessarily want to divorce you," he said. "If you regretted it and didn't want to wait for him, then give you this letter of divorce." She was so terrified she went limp. The letter of divorce slipped halfway and fell onto the quilt. I bent down to pick it up, carefully reading the words written upon it. It was indeed written by Liam Pei. In my past life, I had held on to a sliver of hope that the divorce letter was forged by Mother Pei. Heh! I let out a cold laugh. Mother Pei trembled like a leaf in the wind. "Willow, sure. What are you going to do?" I studied her face intently. The kindness and gentleness she once showed were gone, replaced by bitterness and arrogance. In just a few years, it was as if she had become a completely different person. 5 years ago, I found Liam Pei downstream by the Guardian River behind the village. What a coincidence. It was the exact same spot where my foster father had found me. I felt a pang of compassion, forgetting my foster father's warning. Never pick up a man from the roadside. If you must pick someone up, only choose a child. I brought Liam Pei home with me. I took meticulous care of him. Half a month later, when he was able to get out of bed, Mother Pei also found her way to us. It turned out Liam Pei had accidentally fallen into the river while searching for wild berries. Later, Liam Pei and I gradually developed feelings for each other and got married. In the early days of our marriage, Mother Pei treated me exceptionally well. The family fell into decline. They endured many hardships along the way. She tearfully expressed her gratitude to me. It's easy to add flowers to brocade, but hard to send charcoal in snowy weather. "Willow, I will treat you as my own daughter." Back then, she was kind, faced, resembling the goddess of mercy. When did it change? It was after Nina Shin showed up. She felt Liam Pei should have married a noble lady like her, not a peasant woman like me. It was when the Pei family's wrongful accusations were cleared. I became the stain on Liam Pei's pristine reputation. How laughable. When they hit rock bottom, I was the charcoal scent in the snow. When they returned to power, I became the mud on that snow. I smiled faintly and carefully put away the divorce paper. But Mother Pei grew even more frightened. She collapsed on the couch, her body limp. Her entire figure sank into the shadow cast by the window lattice on the wall. Her voice was as faint as a mosquito's hum. "Willow, sure. What exactly are you trying to do?" I poured 2 pills from the porcelain bottle and shoved them into her mouth. "Of course, it's for revenge." Her eyes widened in shock, but she still couldn't resist the effects of the medicine before she completely lost consciousness. I made a promise. "Don't worry. After I've taken my revenge on you, I won't go after your son." I couldn't bring myself to harm both children. Liam Pei was reinstated to his official position. I couldn't touch him, but since I've been given a second chance at life, someone must pay the price for my wrongful death. So I chose the worst one. A knock came from outside the door. I opened it to see a rather familiar face. Scarface Lee. I repaid in kind. selling Mother Pay to this demon she had handpicked for me. All the suffering she had planned for me, she would have to endure it all herself. Scarface Lee looked around, his expression one of dissatisfaction. She's too old. But I wasn't afraid of him being satisfied. Mother Pay was just over 40, having been raised in luxury. Her skin was delicate and smooth, making her appear younger than many country women her age. Scarface Lee's nitpicking was merely a tactic to haggle over the price. I held up 5 fingers, then 5 tails it is. She comes from a wealthy family and is quite precious. Please treat her well. Scarface Lee had always harbored a deep resentment for the wealthy elite. He would make sure to give her special attention. The Pay family always looked down on me for being a country bumpkin. In truth, I didn't even know where I was from myself. 13 years ago, my foster father found me by the river, barely clinging to life. When I woke up, I had lost my memory. He raised me as his own, taught me the art of healing, to ensure I could live a stable life. He gave up his wandering practice and settled down in Apricot Creek. After he passed away from illness, I took up his mantle, tending to the villagers' ailments, living all alone, until I found Liam Pay. I thought it was fate's mercy upon me. Little did I know, fate had laid a deeper trap. Only through death could the game be broken. Fortunately, now that past entanglements are settled, I shall embrace a different life anew. I inventoried the medicinal herbs at home, retrieved the chest my foster father used during his days as a traveling physician, planned to journey south under the same guise. Elara Pay's comb, Leo Pay's wooden horse. I pondered and pondered, but did not take them, left them all on the table. Life is but a dream within a dream. Worldly affairs like wind heard in the wind. This life ends here. Passing the neighboring village, I deliberately detoured to Scarface Lee's dwelling. Mother Pay's weeping echoed through the night. Good. I felt at ease. Winter grew ever deeper. Yet as I traveled south, the cold did not intensify. Instead, I witnessed scenes utterly unlike Apricot Creek. Some towns bustled with astonishing vibrancy. For some reason, it felt intensely familiar, as if I'd seen it in my memories. But no matter how much I thought, nothing came to mind. Oh well, perhaps it's from hearing Mother Pay and Nina shouldn't talk about the capital so often. Now that I see such wealth, it feels familiar. This journey hasn't been peaceful for me. I encountered vicious bandits and aided gravely ill refugees. But thankfully, it was all peril survived. In just a few months, it's been more eventful than my entire past decade. I felt transported back to when my foster father confined me to study pharmacology. Human life is priceless. Healing even one person surpasses all virtue. This phrase my foster father often said. I suddenly understood after my long trek. In June, I passed through Dream Lake City and encountered a severe outbreak of the Crimson Plague. The plague was bizarre and rare, leaving local physicians helpless. Yet I recalled my foster father's writings mentioning a similar outbreak he'd encountered up north. The resemblance was striking when compared side by side. According to the prescription he left behind, one herb was missing. I ventured alone into the deep mountains to gather herbs. On this trip, I unexpectedly stumbled upon a little girl. She bore some resemblance to Elara Pay, with her round face, large eyes, and jade-like purity. She was utterly adorable, even though her bun hairstyle had come loose, and her clothes were smeared with mud. Her sweet demeanor still shone through. I recalled my foster father's words, never pick up a man from the roadside, but a child is fine to take in. Back then, I didn't heed his advice and ended up bringing home Liam Pay, who brought a lifetime of storms into my life. This time, I decided to listen to him and take this little girl home. The little girl wasn't hurt, just fast asleep. She clung to my arm, her voice soft and sweet. My name is Penny, like the hope at sunrise. She looked utterly pitiful, with tears welling in her eyes. She sobbed, I heard father is getting married, and the maid said the new mother doesn't want me. I want to find my mother. I asked her where her mother was. She looked lost. I've never seen my mother. Father said mother went far away, and when Penny grows up, she'll come back to see me. My heart ached with sadness. It reminded me of myself when my foster father found and brought me home. I decided to adopt her. I took Penny to test the remedies and combat the crimson plague. Fortunately, my foster father's prescription was correct. The scent of medicine spread through the streets and alleys. In just over a month, Dream Lake City was revitalized. By the time the Imperial envoy sent to manage the Crimson Plague arrived, the epidemic had already subsided. I was honored as a guest of distinction by the local physicians and officials. Unexpectedly, as soon as I took Penny to the banquet, we were detained. Audacious commoner, how dare you abduct the little princess? I was stunned. Penny and I locked eyes. No, you poor child. Unloved by your father and abandoned by your mother. You never mentioned you were a princess. The physicians and local officials present rushed to my defense. Physician Willow Sure is the hero who contained the Crimson Plague, a kind soul who would never abduct a child. There must be some misunderstanding. We begged the Marquis of Serenity to show mercy. I looked up. The man at the forefront was tall and imposing. His broad shoulders and narrow waist were sharply defined by a robe of midnight brocade. His brows were like swords, eyes like stars, lips crimson as painted vermilion. His features were strikingly handsome, yet his expression was icy, adding a layer of aloofness that kept others at bay. I was weighing how to explain myself. Then I saw another man step out from behind him, dressed in a blue scholar's robe, as elegant as ever. It was Liam Pei, the husband I never thought I'd see again in this lifetime. I looked a moment longer. In the past, I'd thought Liam Pei was radiant and untouchable, like an immortal descended to earth. But seeing him today, before this extraordinarily handsome Marquis of Serenity of the Great Yong Kingdom, even Liam Pei paled in comparison, appearing like an ordinary bystander. It suddenly dawned on me, the Marquis of Serenity, head of the Pei family, who Mother Pei had spoken of. Penny is actually his daughter? Willow Sure? Liam Pei frowned. What are you doing here? So you're the miracle doctor. I had nothing to say to him. Thus, I merely gave a cold nod and remained silent. From behind me, Penny let out a soft whimper. She darted forward and threw herself into the Marquis's embrace. In her sweet, childish voice, she said, "Father, I missed you so much." The Marquis stepped forward and gently lifted Penny into his arms. "Did you have fun playing?" "Penny?" "Yes, I did." She pouted in my direction, a hint of pride in her expression. "Father, look, this is the mother I found for myself." The room fell into complete silence. Her father, the Marquis, wore a smile on his lips, though it did not reach his eyes. His phoenix-like eyes swept over me with detached coolness, deep and chilling as a frozen pond. I hastily lowered my head. A cold dread crept densely up my spine. After what felt like an eternity, that icy gaze finally shifted away. Yet the words he spoke nearly made my jaw drop. Our Penny is truly as clever as ice and snow. Not only does she pick her own tutor, but she even finds her own mother. Father has seen her, and the mother you chose is quite remarkable. The guards behind him seemed accustomed to this, all bowing their heads with suppressed smiles twitching at their lips. Only Liam Pei stood with a face as dark as thunder, his hands clenched tightly at his sides. But Penny, having been praised, was overjoyed, lifting her chin high with pride. Eagerly, she introduced us. "Father, my mother is named Willow Sure." "Mother, my father is called Jonas Pei." His gaze settled on my face, dark, unreadable emotions swirling in his eyes. Penny was still just a child. Halfway through the banquet, she was already too drowsy to keep her eyes open. Jonas Pei wanted to escort her back to her room. She refused. Struggling, she widened her round eyes and grabbed my hand. "Mother, I want you to tuck me in." Jonas Pei was at a loss. He could only plead with me. Could I trouble Dr. Willow? I nodded and took Penny into my arms. Behind us, Liam Pei dejectedly set down his chopsticks, lost in thought. After Penny fell asleep, I left the courtyard, but I saw Jonas Pei standing under the moonlight, tall and straight as a pine tree. He reached out and handed me a wooden hairpin. I touched my hair bun and realized it was indeed empty. It must have fallen off accidentally during the banquet earlier. Thank you, Marquis Pei. As I took the hairpin, my fingertips accidentally brushed against his palm. Jonas Pei's hand suddenly clenched. His knuckles turned pale. Penny has been without a mother since she was young, wise beyond her years. She was innocent yet clear-minded, never clingy, and aside from me, she never let anyone else coax her to sleep. Such trust in you suggests Dr. Willow must have a special bond with her. I recalled Penny's adorable antics when she acted sweet and coquettish. It reminded me so much of how Alara Pei used to cling to me as a child. If Nina Shun had never arrived, perhaps Alara Pei would be just like that now. I let out a soft sigh. Penny is a well-behaved child, and I like her very much. Jonas Pei nodded understandingly. No one could help but like her. He paused briefly, then added, "We'll be setting off for the capital soon. Dr. Willow, would you be willing to accompany us to the capital?" "But Jonas Pei smiled faintly, his eyes sparkling like stars, paired with his devastatingly handsome face. I couldn't help but stare, mesmerized. "I own several businesses and could help you open an apothecary." He spoke softly in the night breeze, with a hint of temptation. "An apothecary? I've thought about that too. Alas, my pockets are empty. I truly lack the means. But I won't be going to the capital. I'm just a commoner, worlds apart from Penny's status. I have no wish to climb social ladders by association. That would only tarnish what Penny and I share. As a wandering healer traveling far and wide, if fate allows, Penny and I will meet again someday." A low chuckle escaped his throat, as if he had seen right through me. The Marquis of Serenity, with his power and influence. One night was enough for him to uncover all my secrets. I held back, then finally spoke the truth. I really don't want to have any more dealings with you people surnamed Pei. A mere collateral descendant like Liam Pei already carries himself with such arrogance. Then this head of the Pei family must be as far above me as the clouds are from the mud. Jonas Pei didn't press me further. He only left me with these words. "Why ask more of life's fleeting affairs? This floating life is but a dream." Then he walked away without another word. I strolled along the lotus pond for a while. Today, I saw Liam Pei again. To my surprise, my heart remained utterly calm. In my past life, this bond tormented me to a miserable death. Yet, in this life, I let it go with such ease. Willow sure. Speak of the devil. Liam Pei approached from the other side of the lotus pond. His face was like cold jade, aloof and distant. "Since you left Apricot Creek, did you receive the letter of divorce?" Perhaps it was the wine clouding my senses, but I thought I detected bitterness in his voice. I steadied myself. I must have misheard. "I did. Did you return to Apricot Creek?" "There's something else weighing on my mind." He nodded, moisture glistening in his eyes. "After you left, my mother must have offended someone. She was abducted by a local ruffian. By the time I returned, she was already gone. Thank goodness you're safe." His voice was thick with regret. He couldn't come to terms with Mother Pei's death, but I breathed a sigh of relief. Now that Liam Pei has returned to his official post, it's actually to my advantage that he doesn't know what I did. Better to avoid trouble than invite it. Yet his words only fueled my resentment further. His mother is in Apricot Creek. He would still go back to find her. But the me from my past life, he never once thought to look for me again. How ridiculous. Liam Pei's gaze drifted back toward me. His voice grew even more bitter. "Had I known, I should have taken you all home with me. Willow sure. The children miss you dearly. They've been waiting for you in the capital for so long." I didn't respond. In my past life, I went to the capital and met those two. So young, yet so cruel-hearted. They treated me not like a mother, but like an enemy. Liam Pei didn't notice the expression on my face. Instead, he stammered, "I've also missed you. Willow sure. Would you marry me again? I've already found a match for Nina. We can arrange her wedding as soon as we return to the capital." A gust of wind swept through, scattering his words into fragments. I lowered my gaze, keeping my emotions hidden, pretended not to have heard clearly. Nina Shun was never the barrier between him and me. It's just that Liam Pei never truly loved me in the first place. "What did you just say?" Liam Pei flushed, unable to repeat it. He only said wistfully, The peonies at home have bloomed. They're beautiful. A shame you couldn't see them. Those peonies were planted for Leo and Alara Pay's second birthday. I worked hard watering and tilling the soil, yet in 2 lifetimes, I never got to see them flower. I lower my lashes and soon let it go. Those flowers were planted by my own hands. Now that I'm doing well, the flowers are happy too. Better than me weeping alone before their full bloom. Now both the flowers and I shine in our own ways. Penny is returning to the capital in 3 days. Hearing she must part from me, she cried bitterly. I especially made some pastries, ready to comfort her. Little did I know she only ate a pine nut candy. She said, with a beaming smile, "I like this. It's tastier than the ones in the capital. When I return to the capital, I'll pack them all to take with me." I was taken aback. She popped another candy into her mouth. Squinting her eyes, her small hand reached out to touch my cheek. "Penny has also been a child lulled to sleep by a mother. You've been my mother these past days, and that's enough." She leaned in, her tiny body throwing itself into my embrace. "Father said you are a free, roaming physician. I cannot use power to keep you by my side. I must respect your wishes. Penny just finds it hard to let you go." She sobbed quietly. Warm tears fell onto my neck. They burned with an ache that unsettled my heart. I worked through the night without rest, making her a set of clothes, shoes, and socks, finally finishing them on the day she was to leave. Penny happily carried them onto the carriage, then turned her back to me to wipe her tears. "Mother Willow, Penny will miss you. Stay safe and live a long life." That's what she asked me last time, what my greatest wish was. I thought back to my previous life, so brief and full of suffering. Of course, it's to live 100 years. I never expected her to remember. Suddenly, tears fell from my eyes like a dam breaking in a storm. After my adoptive father passed, I never again experienced the feeling of someone caring about me like this. 2 handkerchiefs were offered before me, with red, rimmed eyes. I hesitated a moment before reaching out to take Jonas Pay's. After all, a stranger feels closer than an ex-husband, doesn't he? Liam Pay's aloof expression suddenly shattered, dark emotions swirling in his eyes, only to fade into lifeless stillness in an instant. Jonas Pay, on the other hand, let out a soft laugh. When we first met, he was icily distant, even more so than Liam Pay. But after spending more time together, I realized he laughs often, a stark contrast. I found it a bit puzzling, but then I thought, he must be the one who raised such a whimsical and spirited daughter like Penny. I suppose he wasn't truly cold-hearted. After Penny left, my life returned to its usual tranquility. The Crimson Plague had finally come to an end. I had grown accustomed to Dream Lake City, but with Penny gone, everywhere I walked, I could almost hear her cheerful chatter. My heart felt as if it were steeped in vinegar, a bitter, astringent ache. I bid farewell to the healers who had fought the plague alongside me, and set out on my journey once more. My compass was broken. I had intended to head south. A month later, I entered Verdia City, only to realize I had gone in the opposite direction. I thought to restock on herbs and provisions. If I left today, there would still be time. But then I saw a notice posted on the city wall. Urgent medical aid needed. Reward of 1,000 gold. I took down the notice. The 1,000 gold was certainly tempting, but more than that, I genuinely wished to heal and save lives. Upon arriving at this state, I discovered the patient was none other than Jonas Pay, who had returned to the capital a month ago. When Penny saw me, she ran over, tears streaming down her face. "Mother Willow, I sent you a letter." I remained silent. They had just set off when I left right after. Naturally, I never received her plea for help. Jonas Pay lay on the couch, his face as pale as jade. His lips were faintly colored, and fine beads of sweat dotted his temples. He looked far weaker than usual. Penny held a handkerchief, gently wiping her father's sweat. Father suddenly fell ill. The doctors initially said it was a chill, but after taking the medicine, he only grew worse. The royal physicians from the capital are still on their way. A breeze blew past, lifting his collar. Faint, winding purple patterns were barely visible beneath. Only then did I realize he wasn't merely sick. He had been poisoned by a rare toxin from beyond the borders. This poison is hard to detect, masquerading as a common chill. Once the patterns emerge, it becomes critical. Fortunately, I enjoy studying ancient texts and had come across this before. I prepared an antidote for Jonas Pay. He woke in the evening, his voice still weak, yet his gaze held galaxies when he looked at me, utterly tender. Now both Penny and I owe our lives to you. I shook my head. One ingredient is missing. That herb isn't available in any nearby city. Penny's smile upon seeing father awake vanished instantly. She looked at me with eyes brimming with tears. Mother, her eyes are red and swollen every day. I can't bear to see her cry anymore. I will accompany you to the capital to heal your father completely. I never imagined I would return to the capital in this lifetime, this place of turmoil where I met my end in my past life. Fortunately, the capital's medicinal herbs are well stocked. The matriarch of the Pei family received the letter and had the herbs prepared early. Jonas Pei only needs to take the medicine for half a month, and he will fully recover. That day, right after I finished brewing Jonas Pei's medicine, a servant from the Pei family came to summon me. Dr. Willow, there's a visitor for you. It's Leo Pei and Alara Pei. They rushed toward me. Liam Pei followed far behind them. Both children wore fine silk robes, their eyes red, rimmed as they looked at me. Mother, we missed you so much. The steamed buns in the capital taste awful, and even the tofu pudding is sweet. The clothes we bought are stiff and uncomfortable, nothing like the ones you made. Hearing their words, the emotions that had stirred in my heart settled once more. Do you truly miss me? They both nodded in unison. Leo's nose was flushed red. Mother, we were wrong. If Auntie Nyen marries father someday, she'll have her own children and won't care about us anymore. Alara also looked aggrieved. Only you, Mother, are our real mother, the one who'll always be good to us, no matter what. They went on and on, their voices full of sorrow. But my heart remained unmoved, solid as stone. I was about to say something when a childish, stern voice scolded from behind. You don't really know you're wrong. You just know you won't live well from now on. Penny rushed over and stood in front of me. You don't love Mother at all. You just want her back to serve you and snatch the family fortune. So selfish. Penny looks down on you. Leo Pei and Alara Pei were displeased. The three children broke into a heated argument. She's our mother. What's it to you? Don't you have your own mother? The words cut too deep. Penny's eyes instantly reddened. I reached out, picked her up, and sighed. Then I looked toward Liam Pei as he approached, speaking slowly and firmly. You and I are already divorced. These children are with you. Don't come looking for me again. As for whom I choose to treat as my child, that's my business, Leo Pei said stubbornly. But you are originally the mother of Alara and me, so you should take care of me. His unreasonable words were cut off by Liam Pei. Leo, mind your words. His gaze gradually dimmed, like a butterfly drowning and sinking in water. Willow, are you really unwilling to give us another chance? I held Penny tightly. Unwilling. After this incident, Liam Pei never brought the two children to see me again. He often appeared at Pei Manor. Occasionally, when we met, he would just exchange a glance and leave, until Nina Shin appeared. She came to visit Jonas Pei. She didn't get to see Jonas Pei, but she saw me. It's you? The Pei matriarch's hand paused as she held her tea. Nina, you know Dr. Willow? Nina Shin smiled and leaned in to whisper something in her ear. Then she covered her mouth. What can a country bumpkin like her possibly cure? Better to change doctors and get another opinion. The matriarch frowned. My heart gradually sank. Just because I come from a countryside, these so-called nobles look down on me. Penny rushed over, glaring at Nina Shun with displeasure. Don't you dare speak ill of my mother. My mother is amazing. Without her, Penny would have lost her father long ago. The matriarch paused. Then her face lit up with joy. Penny, are you saying Dr. Willow is your mother? Penny nodded. The matriarch had clearly misunderstood, setting her teak down with a heavy thud. She complained in a flurry. That Jonas. He didn't say a word to me about this. All this time, I've been treating Dr. Willow as a benefactor, never realizing she's my granddaughter. In law, the noble women present were stunned. Some even congratulated the matriarch. Matriarch, You've always worried the Marquis refused to marry. It seems he had his own plans. Finding a wife with such exceptional medical skills and striking beauty, a perfect match for the Marquis indeed. It was all a big misunderstanding. I opened my mouth to explain. A noble woman in a patterned brocade dress stumbled forward unsteadily. A few strands had slipped from her meticulously styled cloud, like chignon, clinging to her sweat-dampened temples. Might I ask where Dr. Willow hails from? Her voice is so strikingly similar to my son's. The Pay matriarch suddenly exclaimed, clapping her hands in realization. No wonder Dr. Willow looked familiar to me at first sight. Now that I look closer, there truly is some resemblance to the Prime Minister's wife. Someone gasped, cover the eyes, and she's the spitting image of the Prime Minister in his youth. I felt somewhat dazed. I recalled something. I have a birthmark on my arm. The Prime Minister's wife took just one glance. Then she embraced me, weeping bitterly. My child, all these years I've searched for you in agony. By sheer coincidence, I had unexpectedly found my parents. Jonas Pay's recovery banquet had unexpectedly turned into my family reunion. The Prime Minister hurried over from the gentlemen's section. I only needed one look at him to know there was no mistake. The resemblance is uncanny. My parents' tears moved me, and I couldn't help but feel my own eyes welling up. Jonas Pay, standing behind him, exchanged a glance with me. A relieved smile appeared on his face. Leaning on my mother's shoulder, I saw him subtly block Liam Pay, who was trying to approach. Just as I had hoped, after being formally recognized by the family, I immediately told my parents about my past divorce from Liam Pay, hearing that he had come to the capital to take up his post, leaving me behind alone. Father was so angry, he smashed his teacup. That Liam Pay seemed gentle and talented. Yet he turned out to be such a heartless scoundrel. No wonder Jonas stopped favoring him after heading south. He must have known his true nature. I paused, taken aback. Jonas had never mentioned this to me. Jonas Pay's poison hadn't fully cleared yet. I still went to Pay Manor daily to check on him. Though someone else had taken over preparing his medicine, Penny remained as attached to me as always. She never looked down on me, even when my status was lowly. Now, she doesn't become timid or distant just because I've returned to the Prime Minister's residence. While I was teaching her to identify medicinal herbs, Jonas Pay suddenly remarked, Nina Shun is getting married. He narrowed his eyes, adding that marriage might cure her habit of gossiping about others. It dawned on me belatedly that he was still angry about Nina speaking ill of me before the Pay matriarch that day. His gaze was gentle now, all traces of his former coldness gone. However, this was actually proposed by Liam Pay. His tone carried a hint of mockery, yet I felt inexplicably irritated. That Liam Pay seemed to have lost his mind. He came looking for me several times, wanting to reconcile, saying our separation wasn't valid, claiming that, for the child's sake, I should be with him. After my parents found out, they went to warn him, telling him to forget the past and stop bothering me. Only then did he finally give up, though he still often blocks my path home. He inquired about my well-being as if casually. It seemed the hardships of officialdom had changed his nature, leaving no resemblance to the gentle scholar who once captivated the village. I thought and thought, if I had encountered this version of him back then, I likely wouldn't have brought him home at all. The two children had also been influenced and changed. Their concern wasn't about evoking my maternal love. Instead, they tried to demand benefits from me as their mother, leveraging their status as my children to make me reconsider. The three of them unanimously cold-shouldered Nina Shun. Liam Pay even proactively suggested marrying off Nina Shun. Nina Shun went mad, but she didn't confront Liam Pay, who urged her to marry. Instead, she came after me. She hid in my carriage, drew a dagger, and pointed it at me. Willow, sure, you've already been divorced. Why are you still clinging to him? How is it fair that my Shun family was executed because of Liam Pay? I searched for him for 3 years, yet he ended up marrying you. It took me so much effort to persuade him to divorce you and win over his children. Do you think they changed just because you made a comeback? She waved the dagger wildly. Frantically, her words incoherent. Do you think I want to please your children? It was all for Liam Pei. I waited for him to divorce his wife, willing to be a stepmother, only to be treated like this. The carriage stopped under a willow tree in the alley. Liam Pei, who often blocked my way, spoke up just outside the carriage. Willow, sure, I've arranged for Nina Shun to marry someone, as you wished. I never had any romantic feelings for her. Good. Nina Shun grew even angrier. Her dagger pressed closer. A sharp pain shot through my neck, and I could feel blood seeping out. Willow, sure. So it was you who forced me into marriage. Me. Just as her dagger was about to pierce my neck, a fan struck her wrist. Nina Shun clutched her arm. The dagger clattered to the ground. The carriage curtain was lifted, and Jonas Pei stepped inside. He noticed the wound on my neck. His brow furrowed deeply as he stepped forward and lifted me into his arms. As he turned, I caught a glimpse of Nina Shun rising to her feet. Watch out! Jonas Pei twisted his body to shield me. This powerful marquis, having just recovered from poisoning, was now stabbed again. My hand came away smeared with blood. Yet, without changing expression, he scolded Liam Pei. Liam, I don't want there to be a next time. No fine steed ever grazes on old pastures, especially when the path ahead offers superior fodder like me. Though it wasn't publicly announced, news still spread that Nina Shun had stabbed Jonas Pei. Her engagement was called off. The family she was betrothed to hastily withdrew the marriage contract, fearing they'd be implicated. The messy trouble Liam Pei brought upon me also successfully angered my father, the Prime Minister. When he returned to the capital, he prided himself as an upright official, but his actions were too sharp and exposed, offending many. Now, without the Pei family's protection behind him, and having crossed the Prime Minister, his position grew precarious. He was repeatedly struck down in court. He was exiled from the capital, taking his 2 children and the mentally unstable Nina Shun with him. On the day he left the capital, I did not go to see him off. Yet he sent a letter. I wronged the Shun family. I am ashamed of Nina Shun. I often grieve over my own circumstances, and I understand mother's hardships, but I alone neglected your feelings. After coming to the capital, I've dreamed many times of you drying herbs while I copy texts, with Leo and Alara laughing and playing nearby. This is what I truly yearn for. It's a pity I thought it was ordinary at the time. If there is a next life, I will never fail you again. I read it calmly, tossed the letter into the brazier, reducing it to ashes. Jonas Pei had entered the study at some point and let out a cold scoff. The scars on his body had healed. Naturally, I had no desire to go to the Pei family daily to treat him. Instead, he kept coming to the Prime Minister's residence. If he brought Penny along, I'd reluctantly give him a somewhat warmer reception. But if he came alone, as he did now, then I had no reason to be polite either. Jonas Pei stepped forward and read aloud the words I had just written. Cunning deceit is no match for simple honesty. He rubbed his nose, a faint blush appearing on his jade, like cool complexion. Soon his expression returned to normal. After being stabbed by Nina Shun that day, Jonas Pei left a harsh remark in front of Liam Pei. Willow sure is my betrothed, promised to me before birth. If she hadn't been kidnapped as a child and lost her memory, how could you have had the chance to break her heart? This shocked not only Liam Pei, it utterly stunned me as well. I asked my mother when I got home and found out it was indeed true. Later, I went missing. The old Marquis was wrongfully imprisoned, and Jonas Pei changed his name and joined the army. Not only did he achieve military merits, but he also found evidence to clear his father's name. As for Penny, she is the daughter of his deputy general. Her mother died in childbirth, and she later lost her father too, raised by Jonas Pei's side since childhood. Yet Jonas Pei clearly knew my identity all along, but he kept it from me and lured my mother to come, recognizing me on the day the Marquis's manor was filled with guests. Many elders in the capital know about our arranged marriage from birth, so I can't back out later. I gritted my teeth, meeting Jonas Pei's mesmerizing peach, blossom eyes that could enchant with just a smile. Did you recognize me from the start? He fell silent for a moment, grabbing my arm. He lowered his thick lashes. I didn't mean to keep it from you. At first glance, you looked so similar, but I didn't dare confirm rashly, afraid it might be false hope, until I saw the birthmark on your hand while you were playing with Penny. He stepped forward and wrapped his arms around me, his chin resting on my forehead. Pouting pitifully, he said, "When you were little, you chased after me every day, calling me Brother Jonas, and even with amnesia, you remember to look for someone with the surname Pei. I only regret meeting you too late." Jonas Pei leaned close to my ear, his lips brushing the corner of mine. "The day I first saw you, I knew my moon had come rushing back to me, just as Penny came running in and caught us in the act." She quickly covered her face and fled in embarrassment. So embarrassing. Mother, father, so embarrassing.